Hi everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of Mass, my authentic real estate story. Today I have a very amazing guest, a woman, a distinguished woman in real estate. I call her Your Excellency, and she's going to be sharing her inspiring sojourn into the real estate industry. But before then, I'd like to remind you that behind everyone and every great business, every successful and great business, there is a story. Stories are all around us. They help us connect as humans, connect the dots backwards, and make sense of the future and the world around us. And so, join me to welcome on this episode of Mass, Mrs. Mojisola Afolayan. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for obliging us and joining, our mass inspiring stories, so that a lot of the young girls especially can look at this our excellency and say, how did this woman go from being in the real estate space to contesting in the last elections? But before we get there, here's our amazing, beautiful guest.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Actually, it's an honor. I remember watching Pastor Nathaniel Basti's episode, and I'm delighted to be in the chair as well.
Oh, thank you so much for coming to share with us. We can't wait to hear from your wealth of knowledge and experience.
I'm happy to share.
I'll give a quick rundown of her abridged profile. So, Mrs. Mojisola Afolayan is a seasoned property advisor and acquisition specialist, brings over a decade of experience in banking and real estate. She is the principal partner of Mojisola Afolayan Estates and the director at CDRE Developments Limited. She is the founder of CDRE, which is Chics Doing Real Estate, where she empowers women in real estate investing. Mrs. Mojisola champions property education through Real Estate Blueprints Conference. She's also authored 2 real estate books and leads the Relief Housing Project for affordable homes. In 2021, she raised funds for Cornerstone Heights, a pioneering project in Lagos. Mrs. Mojisola is a registered member and associate of NAIV's FIABC Nigeria chapter, and then of course WIMBIS. Welcome again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sis. So going right into it, behind everybody there's a backstory. I'm sure yours is very inspiring, and I really am interested in hearing it today. So first of all, there are not too many women in estate management, right? Surveyors and estate management. It's a space, mostly dominated by men. So what informed your decision, to pick that during your studies and then continue in practicing?
Okay. Thank you once again. I'm happy to share my story on my authentic real estate story.
Yes.
So my journey started from being a child. I'm sure like many people, we all wanted to study medicine, and we did JAMB, and JAMB was always jamming me. So somehow I got to know about Covenant University, and I went to Covenant University.
Oh, you're an alumni of
Covenant. I'm an eagle. So
interesting, nice.
I got
so all you CU people, your eaglet is here, right?
Yes, so yes, and I'm an alumni of Covenant University. Second set, estate management. I graduated 2008 with a 2-1.
Ooh, so, she's some brain in the room.
So after we were able to do internships during our course of study. It was a 5-year course, and I worked in places like Country Home and Obosiele & Co. during my SciWes, and it was very engaging, and it opened my mind to what can happen just being an estate surveyor and valuer. We also had established SS surveyors come to speak to us in school then. So it was something I really liked to do, especially during the IT when we were visiting places like Parkview and Banana Island. And then it was just like power of visioning and just... So after graduating from Covenant University, I did my NYSC and I started working at UBA. So I started with international trade finance. I was there as the banking license officer to scanning companies, which really had to do with importation. And that was a very, very beautiful experience. Trade finance was, I mean, it's still very relevant in today's business. So since Nigeria is actually a mainly importation-dominated country, so I think the experience there is still very relevant. But eventually, I needed to step aside to focus on my real estate, and that's also power of visioning. And even though I tried to move to some real estate departments, but it wasn't working, so I stepped out and I went to an estate firm. Many people thought, what's wrong with this guy? How can you leave a bank and go to an estate firm? I worked with Ayaya & Co. in Ikeja. I grew from just being a marketer, business development executive, to become the branch manager and the regional manager, and that was how I was able to gain more experience, do my professional exams, get my certifications. I did my master's as well, and that's my journey. And
Wow.
After marriage,
now you've become an entrepreneur.
yeah. So after getting married, I decided that it was time, because I've actually had the experience over time. When I was running Ayaya & Co. in Lagos, the head office was in Abuja. So and there's something about being dedicated and also being committed. It is how you run other people's business, you are also going to run your own. So because I believe I did well that time, I would succeed as well on my own. And you know, being married is a different ball game, especially for women. Most times we get into it before we realize it's a totally different. So, I mean, that was how my journey started with Mojisola Afolayan Estates. But for me, I knew there was something bigger, something I needed to do rather than just help people find homes. I mean, we can talk about this for days, looking for people houses, and before you get back to them, they've already gotten something else. So who pays for your time, your fuel, all those things? So I was like, I'm sure there must be a bigger purpose for God creating me rather than just helping people find homes, and that was how the idea of Chics Doing Real Estate came. I wrote 2 books, and when I wrote 2 real estate books, and why did I write the book, you may ask? It was from people asking me questions. Oh, my colleague in UBA, they want to buy something. They buzz me, Moji, I want to buy this thing. What should I ask for? Somebody is asking me, what's excision in progress? There were a lot of properties under excision in progress at that time. And people are asking, what's excision, what's gazette? And I just thought of it that, how long will I be able to answer people? Let me just put it together in a book and they can just get. So I answered over 100 questions about real estate investments in Nigeria, which happens to be the title of the book. So it was just straightforward. And I ensured that it wasn't ambiguous. It was just simple English that anybody can read, your child can read. And if I'm correct, it's less than 100 pages. So that was the whole idea then. But it transitioned by people asking that, okay, what do we do? How can we invest in real estate and all that? So that was how the investment club launched. And that was what led to Really Fasting. But I'm sure you're still going to ask more questions, and I'll be able to share more.
Okay, so speaking about big and bigger things, in the concluded elections that we saw last year, you took this huge adventure and went into politics, and you emerged the deputy governorship candidate for your political party.
Yeah.
When I saw the post and flyers, I'm like, wow.
What's going on?
What an audacious step. So really, this audacious step, what inspired it? And what are the valuable lessons, you know, experiences that you can share from that venture?
Yeah. I mean, it's a very interesting one. I learned a lot, and I got to meet people. And that's one of the benefits of political participatory. When you do that, you are exposed to bigger things. The first thing is that I'm very passionate about Nigeria. I can't count how many people has offered me legal advice on how to move to Canada or UK and all that, especially because I have young children and all. But the truth is, I'm very passionate about Nigeria. I believe in Nigeria, and I know Nigeria will be great. And I'm excited to see that, in my lifetime.
Not just see and be a part of it. Yes.
So, and that was just really the simple answer to it. So, but it's also, like you mentioned, there are also lessons. The truth is, people are watching. So whether you are doing great or you are doing great again, people are watching you. So your perception matters. I'm sure people are going to still watch this video and get to know more about me. And that's just life. So you have to come correct in anything you are doing. So the truth is, I was called. It was just a phone call, and I was called for an interview. Just like every job interview, come with your credentials. And of course, I have that a lot. So I went with it. I did an interview. I went professional. I mean, it was a very more like a professional interview, because I'm sure they had quite a number of people.
For you to be representing a whole Lagos State as the...
You can imagine. So for me...
You have to come correct, really.
I had to go, and so my greatest surprise was when I got another call to say that I was the best. I'm like, God, what exactly are you doing? And for me, it was in 2022 when I was just about to commence the relief housing project, helping people own homes. And I first of all thought it was a distraction. I was like, Satan, flee from me. That what kind of distraction? Like me from where? Like how? Like
were you actively participating in politics before that time?
No, just this real estate, as far as I'm concerned. Of course, when
so why do you think they sought you out?
So well, I believe that. It's just about who you are, and there are some qualities of a leader. I believe I've always been a leader, and there's no small leadership, or you just have to be a leader in every capacity you find yourself. And we're still evolving, we're growing.
Yes.
So it's very important that you always bring
Put
out
your
the
best foot forward.
Best version of yourself.
Yes.
And be the best version of yourself wherever you find yourself. Whether you are doing IT, you are still a student, you are in school, just be the best version of yourself, because people are watching. And that's the truth.
Absolutely.
People are watching. So that was how I got involved, and I gave it my best shot. I always say till today that if I didn't take that opportunity, I'm sure I'll be regretting it. But I think it's better for you, and that's also for everyone else watching, that when you have an opportunity, say yes, move with it, and you just never know. It's now part of my CV.
I know, right?
Honorable,
Your Excellency.
Distinguished. And you just never know. It was a beautiful experience. I got to know Lagos more. We created a vision for Lagos. I mean, it was a whole lot, and we're still on that journey.
Amazing.
Once you
Amazing.
start.
So now you've started your in. Like you said, people are watching.
Sure.
Everything that you're doing, especially with making sure that you drive excellence with whatever it is that you do. As you do that, everyone is watching. And when they need people to sit at tables, you need to be able to, we're always talking about inclusion. You need to be includable.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. You have to be able to actually sit and consume that food that you're asking for, the table seat.
That's what I say. I actually said this on STV one time. Like, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So find your seat at the table.
It's either you're the meal or you're the consumer.
Yes, so find a seat at the table. Find your way to the table.
I mean, nobody hands it, right?
Nobody, yes,
you actually had positioned yourself for that call. That's the way I see it, right?
I believe so.
You had positioned, because I asked you, why do you think you were sought out? And you said, you've always, been a leader, and that's probably one of the criteria that necessitated that call. So well done,
Thank you,
for taking that audacious step. I mean, a lot of young women looked at you then.
I'm telling you, in fact, one interesting conversation was how my husband called me one day and said, guess what happened? I mean, they were discussing me in his office without knowing it's my husband. They were saying, this is why we're going to vote for. There's this young woman that our own uncle was telling her about the lady. And he was now very quiet. He just wanted to listen to what they were saying. Then later he now said, that's my wife. We just said, I mean, that story still gives me joy to today, that people that don't even know you are talking about you. And like I said, people are watching. Till today, I don't know the people. I don't know the uncle who told them about me. But but just be yourself, be a good person. So, because when you say be yourself nowadays, it can mean many things. So be a good person, be of good character, be respectful.
Have a value system that,
True.
that drives you. Okay, so with, your different strides, the most spectacular ones for me right here is the authorship. You authored 2 books in real estate to give insight to, those who, aspiring to join the industry, answering different questions or pain points for different people. I'd like to ask you, what are the key strategies from those books that you believe are crucial success factors, for players and for the market?
Somehow we're targeted to young people to say, how do you get started? Because the truth is, we might say Nigeria, there's a lot of money in Nigeria, but the truth is there's still quite a number of people who are in their 40s or even in their 50s that do not have their first real estate. So what I'll say to them is to start from wherever you are. Maybe they are even overthinking it, thinking, and many times we need to correct this general perception that your first house is your dream house. It doesn't have to be. People need to understand that to build wealth, you need to own real estate, and that your real estate does not have to be your dream home. We all have a dream house. We all want to live in Ikoyi. We all want to have Banana Island. But the secret to getting to that Banana Island is getting started. So the secret to getting ahead is getting started. So you need to get started. You need to start from wherever you are. And that was how the initiative also started to say, if you don't have the money for everything, you can actually co-invest. And it is working. This is how great minds have been able to invest in real estate all over the world. Co-investing is not new. It's just saying, I want to do this thing. Are you interested? Can we do this together? And we achieve the result. So it's just about having like minds, having same vision, understanding that even as a beginner, you are sharing your risk. You see
with
a lot
someone
of
else.
Yeah, so
you're not
there's
the
no reason
ground.
not to.
Yes.
I feel there's no reason not to be able to co-invest, especially when you are in your 20s, your 30s, even your 40s.
I mean, this is a beautiful place to talk more about CDRE. Tell us more about Chics Doing Real Estate.
So it was from that idea. I really believe in women. So although there are some men in Chics Doing Real Estate today, but the whole concept was when I wanted to. So I call it a sabbatical break after I got married and all that, having children and twins. So it's been a journey. So imagine. So I took a break, and maybe because of I went to Coinvest University. There's something about Coinvest University graduates called purpose. They always let us know what's your vision, what's your purpose. I mean, they've already let us know that we're solution providers. So I've been in that place saying, this real estate thing, God, what exactly do you want me to do? Where do you want me to play? Real estate is very diverse. You can be a developer, you can be a marketer, you can be building, evaluation is there, environmental impact assessment, there's a lot of things, but what exactly, and
how do you distinguish yourself?
Yeah, so for me, and that's how my own journey started. So we all have all this Ibejuleki land that we don't even know where it is today. But my first land that I can take you there right now was a co-investment. And it was with a lady whom I met on Instagram, not even your friend, because that's also very important. We correct that. Your friend might not be your business partner. We need to get, because many times people go and meet their friends, and their friends are, you might not even be on the same frequency with your friend, or they might, and it's also that, not that they hate you, it might be that they are also in a different phase of life. So maybe they are...
What is of interest to you right now is
might not be interesting. So when we say look for like minds, not necessarily your friend. So it's very important, because many times when people say, I've spoken to 2 of my friends, they are not interested, so and I only have 3 million, I don't know what to do. So I saw that as also a problem. And that was how, from my own purpose, with having conversation with God, he said, I wanted to champion this journey. And that was how Chics Doing Real Estate came up. But at that time, it was just to teach people on what to do. Like, just have like investment club, you pay to join, we all come together, I teach you what to do, then you go and do it. But after a while, they were not showing up on Zoom. Then I tried to find out why are they not coming. You guys paid to join this thing, but why are you not coming? And they're like, we came for investments. We didn't come to
and
learn. So I needed to go back to the drawing table to say, how do we create investments that are interesting to these people? And that was how the journey started to relief housing, saying we want to create opportunities for people to own homes, affordable housing, and yeah, so that's really how it is. But the truth is, women need to own their own money. Women need to own their own assets. I'm also a child that grew up based on mommy's finance because I lost my dad. My dad is a very wealthy, my biological dad is a very wealthy man, but he died when I was still in secondary school. And when he died, many people thought that it's finished. But thankful for a woman who had assets. People who see her might not even know she had assets, because assets is also different from business. Like maybe you are going to business or going to work every day. She had assets, even though she was an housewife. Yes, so those assets were able to pay for university in Covenant University, and we're also able to pay for my brother abroad. So it's very important for women to own their own.
Amazing. You see, I said everyone has a backstory. So apart from the fact that jam was jamming you, your mom was also a major influence.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much for sharing that. And like I said before, you know, you picked that from your mom. But I know that there will be another authentic story that connects you, you know, in depth to real estate that has informed this decision, you know, for bringing that platform that brings women together, you know, to put money together. So what is that authentic story that you have to share with us?
Okay, so my personal authentic real estate story started when, of course, we're all real estate surveyors, and we already always know that there's Ekpe land, I mean Ibejuleki land precisely, and all that. So we bought a couple, but I can't even tell you this is where it is. So after a while, I started thinking to say, how do we really want to start this real estate journey? Like I mentioned, I've done IT, we've seen land 200 million, 300 million. You'll just be wondering that,
will I see the money?
Well, which day will I buy this thing? So you just have to be honest with yourself. And that's part of what I said in the beginning, that you must be true to yourself and you must start from wherever you are.
Yes.
So for me, I decided to be honest with myself. But how, you know, sometimes you don't even know exactly what is happening, and the Bible even shows you that things happen preset upon preset. So what happened was a client reached out to me. They wanted to buy land for investment, I think, and that led me to a place called Ogombo. Ogombo is just by Abraham Adesanya. So when we were looking for property for that client, we got he bought 2 plots, and they were about 10 million, if I'm correct, and he paid his commission, of course. And, you know, but that led me to that area. The road was tarred. That's where we have all the Artican beach side and all that. So I was just like, this place is not bad though. And, you know, so I just told the agent that I have another client who is looking for something else, and they should help me find. So they found 3 options. We looked around, and I liked one. The truth is, there was no client. It was me that was just thinking. And it's still part of what we're saying when you ask, like, what are the qualities of a leader? It's still about visioning and just believing. You just have to believe.
Yes. So, envisioning things and just making sure they come to pass.
Yeah, so you must be determined. And it's never easy, though. We need to let people know that it's never an easy decision, like, oh, you have to see the money on a platter of gold and all that. But my journey was, I asked the agent, they found, and we inspected, and we found a nice place. That when you say nice place, maybe it comes with knowing exactly the opportunities that will come in that area. There were developed houses already. There was a school coming up, a large school, and it was like a mini estate, at least a gated streets and all that. So we found the place, but I didn't have all the money. So I thought to myself, how do I raise this money? So I remember that there was a lady that had reached out to me on Instagram saying she wanted to buy land, maybe a year before then. And I gave her feedback on how much the cost was and all that. And she said, oh, that it was over our budget. So I just thought to myself, and it's part of believing and just trying things. You never talk yourself out of anything. And I just reached out to her to say, hi, you remember, that you wanted to buy land at some point. I have this land that is nice. You can come and check it if you don't mind sharing. I remember I said that statement, and the person you'll be sharing with is me. And she reached out and said she didn't mind. She came for inspection, and to cut the long story short, we bought that land. But part of the lessons that I learned was, even as I was in that transaction, I wasn't an estate surveyor in that transaction. I was a client, and we got a property lawyer who today is still my lawyer, and that was how our journey actually started. In fact, my team, the surveyor that did the project then, is still my surveyor till today, and that was how the journey started. So, to give her comfort as well, I transferred my money to her because she didn't know me, and I didn't know her to. But I'm an estate surveyor. She reached out to me, so to give, I just felt that how will I also behave if I was on the other side?
That's the leadership trait in you.
Yeah, I gave her my money, and she paid to the owner of the land.
But what gave you respite? Because this person could have disappeared with your money.
Yeah, that's why I say you have to be bold. Life comes with risk. Yes, there's always risk involved in everything. And I didn't even know her, honestly. I didn't even know her house.
I'm sure you prayed before you sent it.
Of course. So as a person of prayer, I'm always praying. I believe God is with me on every side. But there are times you carry particular transactions to God, but there are times you just have to have the understanding that I'm always with God. Is always with me. God is in me.
He would make sure that I am protected.
Oh yes. Yeah. So, and if you do the right things, do what God wants you to do, you believe God is with you. And really, that was how our journey started. And that was where the guts also came from to say, if I can do one plot, I can do 1 acre, and we're moving on from there. And that was how the Belief Housing started.
Amazing. Well done. Well done. So it is possible, again, with her story, that two people who do not even know each other can come together, co-invest. I am tempted to ask again, how much did you buy that property and how much is it worth now? So if you wanted to even pull out and say, okay, you're not continuing,
in fact,
what have you gained apart from even money?
Yeah.
What's your relationship with this person now?
No, she's family, actually. Yesterday I was in her house. She just gave birth to her first child. Yeah, I was with her yesterday, public holiday.
Congratulations to her.
Thank you.
So how much did you guys buy that property?
At that time, it was with commission and everything, about 10 million.
Okay.
And today, if we want to put it in the market, we'll put it for nothing less than 35, 40 million asking. So maybe we'll close for 30, 35 million.
Amazing. And it just shows how real estate goes beyond, even creating wealth.
Yeah.
It deposits people in your life that, help fuel that journey and purpose that God has created you for.
Oh, yes. So for me, it's fulfilling. It's beyond even the money, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's confidence. Like now, you know that if anything happens, you have something to liquidate. It's an asset. And people should not feel bad when they had to liquidate their asset. That was why you got it in the first place.
Yeah,
because you might need money to do other things. You might need it to sell off to buy a better location. Because I find out that some people are struggling, but they have assets, they can't liquidate their assets, and they are broke, and you are begging people for money. You need to
understand. You gained a new friend, as a result of this transaction.
Yes, family, actually.
You gained a new family.
Wedding. In fact, my husband, she knew my husband, but I now know her husband. I met her mom in the journey. Amazing. But at that time...
See how two families are connected on just one transaction. Well done. So I'll take you a bit away from all the mushiness and take you to real estate.
Correct.
The recent increase in interest rates, it affects almost everyone. But in our industry, affects both the developers, and the buyers. It's changed the whole market dynamics. And I really want to ask, given your expertise in both finance and real estate, from the banking industry and then from the real estate perspective, how can we navigate the challenges posed by this fluctuation, for both parties, especially for you who close these transactions. So from, managing the developers you work with, even for your own developments, and then, of course, for the buyers that you represent.
Well, what I'll first of all say is cash is king. Cash is king. So for investors, especially the investors in diaspora, it was an opportunity for them to also invest more, because with the exchange rates, they were getting a lot more value from their $1,000 to $10,000 and all that. But more importantly, looking back now, it was a very tough period for every developer, whether you are in Ikorodu, you are in Ajah, you are in Banana Island, because cost of cement is the same, cost of iron rod, everything was skyrocketing. But it also shows how we have this never giving up spirit in Nigeria, because people were still working. Projects were still moving despite the price hike and all that. So I really want to give kudos to property developers, especially the women like you who were always sharing updates. You are still completing projects, and it takes a lot, and I really commend you for putting in the work. It's a lot of work, and I appreciate that. A lot of projects were also completed, and people were being handed over their properties, and there was a video of you where the lady was dancing, and she was so excited.
She lifted me up.
Yes. To get it. I mean, this kind of, you could have given excuses that price don't increase, or come and pay more, but I think that's the reward beyond just the financial reward. Like, you see people smile. Like that day, I was excited when I was watching that video. I had to watch it again. Like, this is the goal. I like more women owning their homes, and we shouldn't be shy about it. I mean, many times they're like, don't talk about it. The truth is, you just have to. It is what it is. You put in the work. It wasn't easy. I'm sure if she's on this seat today, she will share her story, how she was able to get there.
To be able to achieve that. I mean, I also want you to nail on this interest rate increase. MPR has gone from, what it is to now lending rate is about 30% or so. So how do you think this affects, both the builders and the buyers, in the real estate market?
Yeah, so it's very, like you mentioned, like owning a home is one desire that almost everybody has. I'm sure like over 90% of us have that desire of owning our own home. But in Nigeria currently, people say there are no mortgages. Even though we know there are mortgages, but the issue is that the interest rates are really, really high. And it's actually a macroeconomic problem. And for that to be resolved, you need the interference of the government. And that is why you need people like this kind of discussion needs to be, we need to engage in having this kind of discussions to say, how does the government come in to assist people to own their homes? Because there must be that cushion, that ease that comes with owning homes. I mean, having interest rates as high as 25, 28, 30% is actually ridiculous, because even when you buy a house of 20 million, and I'm even not sure you can even find that in town.
Tough.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough. You're going to be paying for a very long time.
Lagos.
So we need to encourage the cities, especially these people who are working in the city. They put in so much work, and yet, like I mentioned, there are people in their 40s that don't have their own home. And part of the issue is always like, where will I get the money from? And the truth is, real estate is expensive all around the world. Yeah. And that is why the government must be involved.
I mean, the difference is in other parts of the world, they have better access to mortgage.
Absolutely. So, and the mortgages are also very, very
accessible.
And also easy in a way. They need to work for it.
It doesn't put so much pressure on the buyer.
So it's very important that we have these conversations even at the state level and at the federal level to say, how do we get government to be involved in mortgages, helping people? So are we talking about the NHF? I know there was an amendment on the NHF loan. How easy is it for people to even access it,
Yeah.
how easy it is for people to even apply for it. I mean, so those are discussions we need to keep having, and also even the commercial banks, the mortgage banks especially. How can we help individuals to own homes? I know there are a lot of banks with different programs, but we need to keep, we can't afford to give up. We need to keep engaging people, let people also know that you can actually walk into a mortgage bank and make inquiry. I know there are a lot of partnerships with developers and mortgage banks as well. So the truth is you just have to get started, and the earlier you start, the better, because your age is also required when you are determining how much mortgage you can have access to. So the earlier you start, the better for you.
I mean, most of them are held back because of this interest, because they
so
don't
that's
have the
why
money.
we're encouraging them as they watch this video to say, don't be discouraged. And many times it's hearsay until you go.
And then you sit on the table and actually have the discussion.
So go into that bank, don't be afraid. In fact, the more you know, the better you can negotiate. But if you're not asking those questions, you can't even contribute to those when you're at that table.
Yes.
So you need to know more. And what we're saying is, for every woman watching this, you want to own a home, walk into any mortgage bank now and say, I want to get a mortgage. This is what I do. This is how much I make monthly. I mean, you just, even if you're not getting it that day, you know better what they'll be looking at, and you can work towards that. But the moment you don't know, you keep saying, oh, they say there's no mortgages in Nigeria. The truth is, people are actually getting more. I'm sure there are quite of your clients who bought their houses based on mortgage.
A lot of them, and a lot of even the young ones now that are afraid of.
Don't chicken out, or don't say, oh, it's not for me, it's not yet time. But until you know the requirements, just go. Be bold.
I mean, Mrs. Mojisola has said, interest rate or no interest rate, go have the conversations. As long as you know you want to buy a property, you want to own your own home, walk into any of the mortgage banks, commercial banks, wherever you can access, and sit at the table, find out what it entails, and then you can begin from there. And I would always say to people, when you decide, first is the decision. When you decide that you want to go into real estate investing, you don't have to have all the money, but when you're open to the conversations, you can begin to see how you can get there. But if you don't open up your mind to first deciding, then engaging in conversations and education on how to get there, it will be tougher. There are several ways you can, actually work around this interest rate thing by making sure you bring the bulk of the money, and bringing the bulk of the money will require you doing more things to earn more income. So you need to have conversations around collaboration, around increasing your income and all of that. Real estate, owning your own property is not far-fetched.
Yeah,
you can do it. Whether interest rate has increased or not, what she's saying is go and have the conversations, and you never know. So I'd like to ask you, been here in the industry for how many years now?
13, almost.
13?
Yeah.
Oh, over a decade.
Yeah.
Amazing. So what would you say really are those things that really make a successful real estate professional?
Integrity. That's very key. Like,
whether as a developer or as
integrity,
as a realtor, or whatever part you play.
I'm telling you, you must have integrity. Very, very important. And in fact, you cannot overemphasize on integrity, because things will happen. You need to carry your clients along, your investors, your partners. I mean, and you can't even go on this real estate journey alone. You will need partners, professional partners, finance partners. You need investors who are going to even believe in you when you are just starting. You will need people who are going to give you iron rod, cement on credit.
Yes, on credit.
And there must have been what they've seen in you to believe in you, to say, I'm going to give this to you on credit. So integrity is just, in fact, that's the first thing anybody needs to have.
Character.
But some people are going to invest in your project off plan.
Yeah.
They didn't even see anything.
They don't know you from anywhere.
And that is it. And just like my story, you just have to come correct. And I said it from the beginning. People can call it different names, but the thing is, you must be honest. You must be humble. You must be willing to learn. You must pay attention to details. I mean, whatever concerns you, your name, your brand, I mean, you must give it attention. And that's all what encompasses to become integrity, your character, your word is your bond. Who are you? Do you keep to time? When they say come at so time, are you there? I mean, it's a whole lot, but you must have integrity. Real estate, integrity is number one.
Amazing, amazing. That just nails it all. Before we let you go, I'd like to ask you, could you go back, give advice to one young girl or young guy looking at you, today, talking about, your journey, your story, and, they are not quite there yet. And maybe for one reason or the other, they are feeling like this is not for me. Maybe I should be somewhere else. Maybe I should do something. Did you experience those days and those challenges? How were you able to overcome those days? And, just tell them how to, hold tight.
As you're sharing this, I have one experience with one man.
Yes.
When I was working in Ayaya & Co, where, like I mentioned, we started as marketers and all that. So I got to a site and I met a young man driving is it pickup like the Tundra, but then, and he had a very big vision. And he was sharing with me how he's going to build estates and all that. He's going to sandfill all these places. And it was just like, what are you talking about? I was just a young girl trying to look for properties to manage for our company then. But I can remember that conversation just as we were talking about being a young girl. Now, what do I say to them? And the interesting is that person is Kennedy Okonkwo today.
Oh, wow.
I'm telling you.
Oh,
I remember that conversation till today. And I'm like, this person must really have a big vision. So when I started seeing Victoria Crest, Nedco Home, and those things, I was like, is it the same person I know? So one day, I took my phone and I called, I think I sent a text. No, I just snapped the card and sent to Instagram. I wasn't even sure if it was the one that manages that very old card. Immediately saw it said, send me your number. You know me from way back. So I have that picture in my head. He was driving, he was doing his project, dedicated, sharing the experience, and I was just like, wow, like I like people. I was happy to meet him. I still remember the conversation till today. Like you can think far as far as your eyes can see. I'm not even aware.
I never knew that you people knew on that level.
In fact, I remember clearly. Like I have. So for every young lady watching, it can happen. Anything you believe in can happen. I mean, believe in yourself. First of all, have faith in God. God is very key because He already knows the end from the beginning. That will be here today. It's important that you will be watching this video today. It's not by mistake. It is already ordained and orchestrated. So it's very important that we know the power of God and believe in the power of God. And aside that, you must now believe in yourself. Because if you even know God, then you know who you are. Because you know that you were not a mistake, that there must be a purpose for you to be on earth. And when you're on earth now, you are supposed to now work in alignment with what God is doing at this time to bring glory and honor to Him. So whatever you are doing, do it well. Whether you are in the office, you are in the bank, you are an entrepreneur.
You're under the sun inspecting houses.
Like Moji, if you know me, people that know me know that I put in the work.
Yeah.
Till tomorrow, my Oga still talks about me.
That's why they called you to come and become Deputy Governor.
So it's a journey. And I remember then, and it's also important I state, when people in the company are doing shady things, they'll be like, like you're doing that, you're slow. But I always say that my journey is far.
Yeah.
I always say it, that you will not
can't cut it short
20K transaction, use it to spoil your name.
Nah.
I just always believed in myself, and I know that my journey is far. So, and all those people that were doing all those shady deals, maybe today they have their own firms. Some of them were sacked, some of them were, insulted, suspension, all those things. And the difference is clear. Yeah. And as you lay your bed, so you lie on it. So it's very important. Be dedicated, be committed, be truthful, be honest, be humble. Very key. You must be humble. because your journey is still far.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mrs. Mojisola. I mean, she said it all. She's re-echoed it so many times that I don't think I need to add anything. I'm just going to say she started with, you know, talking about leadership, and that's why she was sought out. And then, of course, that leadership transitioned into envisioning, you know, when she had to do her first real estate business with her partner, and then, you know, it has gone on to, you know, take different dimensions on different aspects of her journey in this industry. And she has said so many qualities, so many values that, you know, you must imbibe to be able to succeed as a professional, even as anyone, whether in or outside of real estate. Thank you so much again for all the beautiful nuggets. This is the interesting part. I'll just ask you, you know, it's usually a game or a trivia question or anything. I'll just ask you, what is that one food that you must never be caught eating? We're always watching with. In our minds as we right now, what is that one food that you should not be caught eating?
Pork.
Ah, but you like pork. Our pork is what? Meat concentrated. Ah, I need to send you to a Proco doctor. I need to thank him and say, come and face this your sister. She will not leave fat alone.
No, I'm on diet too. I've always been. We're always on diet.
She will not leave fat alone. Pork is fat. You're on diet, yet you go and cheat with pork.
No.
You don't eat it at all. Ah, okay, fantastic. So that's one thing you shouldn't be caught eating, and you actually do not eat it.
Yes.
Ah, amazing. Well done. Thank you so much again for joining us on this amazing episode of Mass. I hope you have been able to learn a thing or two, or even more, you know, from this beautiful and inspiring conversation. Mrs. Moji is sharing with us her authentic real estate story. Don't forget to like, share, comment. If you have any questions, please share in the comment section, and we'll do well to answer them. And lastly, do not forget to subscribe. Until next time, thank you for joining Mass.